Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to June on the Range, Michael K. Vaughan's beloved BookTube event celebrating Western novels and Western short stories. Maybe even I will slip in the course of the month some Western nonfiction. There are two books one that I want to reread and one that I want to really hunker down and study. But in the meantime, I have been reading fiction in the month of June because I won't be reading Western novels at any other time of year. Nonfiction can slip in anywhere, but Western novels I constrict to June on the Range. And I've recently, thanks to a couple of you, I have been put on to the trail of an author named L.P. Holmes. So last night I read another L.P. Holmes novel. This is Destiny Range. This was not the cover of the copy that I read, but this is the story of a man named Dexter Sublet, who he is working on a ranch with a woman named Sonia, who is an exiled Russian princess. And they are dealing with rising tensions about a rival landowner, a rival rancher, who wants to take over Sonia's ranch by any means. Subtle, financial, violent, whatever it takes. And that need is escalating. So Dexter knows he's going to be needed in this plot line, but things are complicated by the fact that Sonia's ex he's a count, I think, or his exact status in Russia I don't think is ever made clear in the book. His name is Sergei, and he comes to find her and take her back to Russia. So that not only is something that Dexter doesn't want to happen if she doesn't want it to happen, but also he's not sure he wants to happen at all because of his feelings for her. Naturally, since this is only like the second or third L.P. Holmes novel that I've read, I was looking for commonalities. I was looking for threads, writerly threads, things that would give me a handle on what this author's style is like. This book seemed a little bit looser in its joints, maybe a little bit more gimmicky than the last L.P. Holmes book that I read. I still liked it a lot. Whether or not this was technically a good Western, I really think I found an author that I like, and that's good. That's worth its weight in gold. An author whose works I want to read, all of them. I know that already, and I'm very early on in reading this author, but I already know that I want to read everything he wrote. I especially like his characterization of Sonia. This is a Western, of course. The men tote guns and talk the talk and are violent with each other, but she was wonderfully drawn. I thought all the characters were wonderfully drawn, even the bad guys. There are two sets of bad guys, of course. There's Sergei, but there's also that rival rancher. I thought all the characters in here were well drawn, and I guess I could call that a through line from the last L.P. Holmes book that I read, because this author seems to like building his characters. He seems to like thinking out his plots, which isn't always the case with dime store genre pulp. You had a publisher saying, "Well, I'll give you $1,700 for this book. I need it on Friday." I'm gonna have the kid who works in the office go over it to make sure it doesn't have grammatical errors or anything. But no one's gonna read this for the exigencies of the plot. If you deliver to me a child that has two eyes and two ears and a nose in the middle of the face, we'll run it. When you've got an open market like that, and for a long time Westerns were an open market like that, they were a way that anyone could make money by writing if they could do it. You will often not exhaustively plot your book before you launch onto writing. You'll let the chapters work themselves out, which is why so many of the Western novels that I've read for June on the Range over the years fail so dramatically at their conclusions, so that you as the reader are left saying, well, okay, but that wouldn't happen. Well, wait, but what about... But not in this case, not with L.P. Holmes, not so far. This book, Destiny Range, actually came the closest to that. Where this is the first book of... I haven't read many of his books, certainly not the experts that are emailing me have read everything many times. But this is the first book where I got the impression that maybe the author wasn't completely sure of how the book would come out when he was working on writing it. But I still loved it. I am concerned, of course, with any BookTube event. I'm concerned with momentum. Not the momentum of doing the reading, because I'm just throwing these books on the night's reading, so that's getting done. But rather the momentum of whether or not the books are good or bad. I'm still scarred from a Book Trek event years ago where I had The Curse of Deep Space Nine, where I was reading one crappy Star Trek novel after another, and they were all Deep Space Nine. I naturally don't want to hit a trough of bad Western novels. So I am tempted to just keep reading L.P. Holmes. And the way that I rationalize that to myself is to say, well, you want to get a handle on this author, and you can't do that with just a couple of books. You've got to read more than him. It's your duty. I don't know if I will or not. I don't know what I'll read tonight for a Western, but it'll be something. Maybe it'll be another L.P. Holmes. That would certainly, I know already that I will enjoy it. But I mean, June is now over a week old, and I haven't read any Louis L'Amour, and that feels a little wrong, considering that in an earlier June on the Range, Louis L'Amour literally took over the month. I could not get away from him. I just kept reading Louis L'Amour. So maybe, I don't know. We shall see. But this is definitely a success. So my June on the Range is going well. That's wonderful, because that isn't a given. So I will wrap this up for now, and I will report back tomorrow on whatever I read tonight. Thank you, BookTube.